Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. On Tuesday night, we had a fullness meeting. Those who are serving our virtual community, instead of calling this a full meeting with all teams and all of those who are serving, I like to call it fullness. Because these meetings are not primarily functional, they're primarily fundamental. I was sharing with the 50 or so who are in this meeting. It is important for everyone to be friends, for there to be a friendliness. I stated that I try to be friendly and I feel that all in this meeting are my friends. Next is, how does one cultivate that? This friendliness, it is by being together. Being together disarms one, dissolves one's ego. And that's why, amongst those who serve, we have identified it is the immersive experiences that we've gone through that have had the highest impact on us. The immersive experiences. Immersive experiences like yatras. This November will be our community's 18th yatra. Almost 100 seekers are coming with me to Trinidad. Immersive experiences like retreats. Generally, at our mandirs and Chinmay mission centers, discourse series are offered. You come for a few hours, you leave. You come for a few hours, you leave. But in our retreats, you're together for 50 hours. We have retreats for evolving adults, on marriage, on parenting, and so on. Now, what we're trying to do in our community is to have more gatherings through our mentorship program for them to gather. For those in the Dialogue with Dharma course, for them to gather. I'm trying to explain the impact of an immersive experience. Today, we complete 1,260 mornings of meaningful mornings. That is 180 weeks that we've had this immersive experience. We complete 1,040 mornings on the Bhagavad Gita. Only 40 more mornings that we're going to invest for now into this map. I described our community as virtual, but if you think of this practically, a live, daily gathering is the closest that one can come to a yatra, retreat, gathering, this immersive experience. I hope you're understanding, you have the intuition of what potency Meaningful Mornings has. As we are in the final 2 weeks of our courses, on Sundays, on Wednesdays, etc., please join these courses. In these courses, our review is beginning. It is important to start strong and finish strong. This is how vasanas are formed. In Bhagavad Gita's chapter 18, we have flowed through 7 systems. We are now on the 8th. These 7 have been renunciation and separation, vision and mission, intuition and determination. We just completed satisfaction. quiet, aggressive, lazy, how it is in the beginning and at the end is different. But all of this relates to composition. What you are. Quiet, aggressive, lazy. What are your prints making you desire? What are your prints and desires making you do? All of that is being explored. Shri Krishna starts this in verse 40, sharing, all beings who are not free are subject to the gunas or these conditions. The implication for this, when you know this to be a fact, then you adapt accordingly. Think about interest rates. You know that interest rates are going to go up or down, and based on that, you adapt. Buying, spending, and so on. We know how to do this. Can we do this more comprehensively? In verse 41, Shri Krishna shares, based on your conditions, what kind of composition do you have? I've shared different ways to reflect on this. Here is another. Try to visualize the body is like an employee. Okay? Then more subtle than that, the mind would be like a manager. More subtle than that, the intellect would be like a supervisor. And now we get into a causal realm. For us, our guide should be our chief or chief officer. We have a body that follows a mind, that follows an intellect. What should the intellect follow? Guide, map, divinity. He, she, it should be the chief executive officer for us. Hence, the definition of WWW is, what would the wise do? In verse 42, Shri Krishna has opened up what it means to be a thinker. To be a thinker is most demanding. I'll point out the numbers. Shri Krishna gives for a thinker 9 responsibilities. Now, as we get into a leader, they only have 7 responsibilities. Now, the rationale for this, the thinker's responsibilities are most demanding because they are the most caring. They care for others, not for oneself. A couple of mornings ago, I was in my United Consciousness meeting, and somehow the discussion came to the usage of the word Lord. The word Lord is a very colonial, very British term. And so in Bharatiya Samskriti, in our culture, better than the word Lord is Bhagwan. That's why you don't hear me say Lord Krishna, I'll say Bhagwan Krishna. And now in a more expressive way, when we celebrate Bhagwan Rama's birthday, we chant Shri Rama, Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. The word Shri, that is not a light term. Shri applies to Shri Krishna, Shri Rama. These responsibilities highlighted in verse 42. If one follows through with this, that makes them Shri. That makes them full inside. These responsibilities are a bhava, an attitude, not a karma. There's lots of people who study and share, but that doesn't make them someone who cares. It doesn't make them that. when they live by qualities like being knowledgeable and wise and faithful, that's what makes one a thinker. Final insight before we get into the responsibilities of a kshatriya or leader. In January of 2015, my batchmates, those I lived with and studied with in Mumbai at Sandipani, my batchmates and I organized the first ever international evolving adults retreat, our Chinmaya Setukaris. And this was awesome because Puja Swami Tejomayananda was the teacher. So all of us got to organize a retreat with our direct teacher. The theme of this retreat was GPS. That the Bhagavad Gita is your compass in life. These verses are what Puja Swami Tejomayananda taught. He taught about composition. Based on who you are, take on responsibilities to evolve. These verses are that important that Puja Swami Tejomayananda would have taught this in this first ever international Evolving Adults Retreat. We are now in verse 43. Shauryam tejo dhritir daksham yuddhe chapya palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha kshatram karma swabhavajam. Joy. From 9 responsibilities to 7. Here are the 7 attitudes, not actions, of a kshatriya or a leader. For us, I use the word intellect or supervisor. They are, and I'm just going to use Puja Swami Chinmayananda's definitions. We don't need to reflect on this too much. They are shaurya. Shaurya means one who has prowess. Teja, the one who has splendor. Dhriti, the one who is firm. Daksha, the one who is dexterous. Then, apalayana literally means the one who doesn't flee. For us personally, one who doesn't escape. A leader is not an escapist. After that, dana, the one who is generous. Next, bhava, but what kind of bhava? Ishvara bhava. And the word that is used is lordliness. Clear, everyone? Shaurya, teja, dhriti, daksha, appalayana. After that, we have dana and bhava, those 7. Now, I'm going to zoom into this 7th responsibility, Ishvara Bhava. It means lordliness or confidence. Really awesome writing from Puja Swami Chinmayananda. As a rule, without self-confidence in one's own abilities, one cannot lead others. A leader must have such a firm faith in themselves that they will be able to reinforce others' frail hearts around them with their self-confidence. Thus, lordliness is one of the essential traits in a kshatriya. And Puja Swami Tejomayananda had given one more very reflective point about Ishvara Bhava, lordliness or confidence. A Brahmana should be like Brahman. Brahman is that which is being. A Kshatriya should be like Ishvara. There is a transition from being to doing. That is a really lovely insight. We are learning so much about so much. When one of our Devis was sharing about how she's pursuing a PhD in artificial intelligence in healthcare, I really feel like we're pursuing a PhD in Sanatana Dharma. How in one verse there's so many facets that we're able to move into and explore. This is a PhD in living. If you want to learn about leadership, learn from these compositions from 9 to 7. Really, the more one thinks of themselves, you see how there's a fall in responsibilities. We'll explore 2 more compositions tomorrow. Your application from yesterday was for you to highlight a feeling Pujaswami Chinmayananda would have about our community. How many of you reflected on this? Please share in the chat what you feel he would feel about us. For me, it would be inclusive. He learned in Sanskrit and Hindi, yet he knew to be inclusive of this science of oneness, he had to use English. I feel our community, one of the value systems we follow is inclusivity. And that's why there's so much effort that is being directed towards the second generation or the succession plan. Many young people have told me about our community, how appreciative they are that we're raising funds for such a diverse direction of charities. Agreed? In terms of our wellness workshops, they're on sexual identity, they're on mental health. Inclusivity. That is what I feel Pujaswami Chinmayananda would feel about our community. And please note this in terms of the announcement I'm about to share. First of all, your application for this morning is, I want you to listen to a song called Meant to Be by a band that is City and Color. City and Color is meant to be. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Enjoy.